Hi, you're on the Retelling Films channel, and this is a retelling of the movie Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire. Godzilla and Kong team up together against a common enemy. The formidable and cruel King Scar, who has worked the Titan Shimo, wants to take over the entire planet, threatening doom to all living things. The movie begins in an underground space inhabited by prehistoric animals. This is also where the mighty Kong lives. Despite his enormous size, the primate king is pursued by a pack of wolf-like predators. Kong gives battle near the cliff. The leader of the pack falls into the hole, and then the gorilla activates a second trap with a log. After pelting the predators with rocks, Kong rips the carcass in half with green blood. Terrified of this very fate, the surviving predators flee in terror. Afterwards, Kong feasts in the cave, distracted by a sawtooth and a brazen reptile stealing his food. Suddenly, he hears a growl similar to his own and goes to look at his kin. But the source of the noise turns out to be just a toad imitating the sounds. This is frustrating for the lone primate, who is the last of its kind. The story shifts to the surface where Dr. Eileen Andrews, a member of the Monarch organization, reveals that Kong and Godzilla have shared territory after their last encounter. The primate lives inside the planet, while the reptile lives on the surface. Godzilla jealously guards his domain from the other Titans. After another victory, he goes to sleep curled up in the Colosseum. Monarch's observation post in the Hollow Earth discovers a passage down into previously inherited areas opened after a collapse, and with it, a strange signal, which Eileen reports. Her adopted daughter Jaya is the last of the Iwi tribe, the Aborigines of Skull Island, where Kong is from. The girl is experiencing hallucinations caused by the signal. While in a trance, the girl draws three strange figures. At home, Eileen realizes that her daughter's drawing matches the graph of the signal from underground. To figure it out, Eileen goes to visit an old acquaintance, Bernie, who hosts podcasts about Titans. In exchange for help, Bernie wants to go to the Hollow Earth to see the Titans for herself. The conversation is interrupted by a message from Monarch. Godzilla is coming out of hibernation. The reptile gets out of the Colosseum and wanders through the Tiber, snarling at the helicopters flying nearby. Monarch discovers that the cause of Godzilla's restlessness is Kong, who has escaped through a portal from underground. The king of all primates is bothered by a bad tooth, and humans are the only ones who can help him. For treatment, a top veterinarian named Trapper is brought in. He attaches cables to the tooth of the anesthetized Kong and in a couple of minutes pulls out the fang from the root. The old tooth is replaced with a new one made of composite material. Bernie theorizes that the mysterious signals from the depths are a call for help. To find out why, Monarch organizes an expedition team led by Eileen. Meanwhile, Godzilla makes his way to France, where he destroys the reactors of a nuclear power plant to feed on radiation. A squadron of drones fires missiles at him, but this only annoys the Titan. He destroys the pesky aircraft with a tremendous burst of energy. Having arrived through a portal, the people find themselves in a prehistoric Hollow Earth. When they reach the observation post, they find that it has been destroyed and the entire staff has been killed. The gorilla returns to the cave and senses the presence of someone else. Taking out a hidden axe, Kong descends into the resulting crevice. When he sees a way out, he goes outside, entering another underground world. Kong sees a huge shadow in the fog, the source of which is Suko, a red-haired baby gorilla. Kong extends his paw as a sign of friendship, but the cub bites him and runs away. He runs to follow, but it turns out to be a trap in which he is attacked by three huge gorillas. A fight ensues, with Kong scattering the aggressive primates on all sides. When Suko tries to scratch his face, Kong uses the cub as a weapon. One of the attacking gorillas nearly falls into the abyss, but Kong catches him in time and pulls him out. Not appreciating the kindness, the rescued primate grabs a knife. After fighting off the attack, Kong throws the attacker back into the abyss with a paw strike. Having dealt with the primates, Kong picks up the axe and tells the cub to take him to the rest of his kin. People on Hollow Earth nearly fall over when a flash of a strange signal nearly knocks out the plane's electronics. Gio says the signal intensifies, pointing them in the direction of the source, where they stumble upon traces of human activity with the written language of their IV people. They reach the ruins of an ancient temple where they see a bas-relief depicting the Queen of Monsters, a butterfly. The glowing dragonfly tells Gia the button to turn on the water system. The water flow leads them to a giant organic wall that reacts to touch. Tearing it open, Gia finds a passage to a dungeon just like the one in her dream. Meanwhile, an electrified Godzilla crosses Spain towards the sea. Upon reaching the water, he dives and swims. A submarine observing him determines that he is heading toward the Arctic Ocean, where, according to Monarch, the Titan Tiamat resides. In the underworld, Zuko leads Kong to the shore of a lake. The cub invites to get drunk and cool off, but it's a trap. The water is inhabited by another Titan snake. He attacks the gorilla by wrapping his tail around it and drags it to the depths, but Kong lashes out and cuts off the snake's head. A frightened Zuko runs away, but stumbles over an aptly thrown axe. He is afraid that Kong will punish him, but he does nothing, even allowing the hungry Zuko to eat the sliced snake with him. A submarine in the Arctic Ocean witnesses a battle between Godzilla and Tiamat. An underwater serpent envelops the lizard, restraining movement and covering its muzzle. But when Godzilla activates an energy beam, the snake is torn to pieces. Eileen's research team, delving deeper into the cave, is captured by a local tribe of natives, and they bring them to their settlement, where they see strange energy installations powering portals to the planet's surface. The natives silently inspect the strangers until Queen Evie appears. They bring Jai up to her. The Queen recognizes her as a tribe's girl who can communicate telepathically like them. After reading her life story, the Queen orders the captives to be released, for they are not enemies. They are then led to the museum of their history, illuminated by an unknown glowing liquid. The bas reliefs tell the story of a confrontation between ancient titans. Once upon a time, the primate King Scar led his kin to the surface to conquer it, but was defeated by Godzilla. The reptile imprisoned the king in the underworld. But the time for the decisive battle has not yet come. It will begin when the tribe's lost child returns home and awakens Mothra, a huge butterfly allied with Godzilla. Zuko leads Kong across the bone bridge that is the spine of the dead titan. Soon they arrive at a tribe of giant primates, laboring under the oppression of overseers for the benefit of the king. Proud Kong descends on them to offer help. When a disgruntled warden growls at him, Gorilla sends the primate into a knockout with a punch to the jaw. Kong's victorious roar attracts the attention of the primate King Scar. He climbs down from his throne to watch the challenger for the role of alpha male. The two primates prepare for battle, Kong with an axe and Scar with a bone whip with a crystal tip. The king dodges, throwing punches. He manages to snatch the axe from Kong and put a noose around his neck, but Kong throws it over him in preparation to continue the fight. However, the king realizes that he may lose the battle and commands his aides to block the lava flow with a stone. Behind it turns out to be a dungeon for the Titan Shimo, whom Orangutan controls with a crystal with a tip, inflicting pain in case of disobedience. The captive dinosaur attacks Kong with frost breath, knocking out the axe and freezing his paw. Realizing he is losing, Kong flees to the cave shown by the Zuko, leaving his axe as a trophy for Scar after the fight. The king's henchmen pursue the wounded Kong across the hollow earth. Kong lures them into a trap, but they notice a tight rope and step over it, but rocks suddenly fall from above right on their heads. Zuko activated the trap. The exhausted Kong walks away, not noticing a survivor climbing out of the rubble. After following him, Scar's henchman finds a village of natives and portals to the surface. He goes back to report this to the king. Trapper notices a frostbitten paw and realizes that Kong has nerve damage. The veterinarian offers to apply a prosthesis from a secret project, the prototype of which is kept in the armory of the observation post. Scar, having learned about the portals, saddles Shimo and moves out with his army for another battle. On the surface of the Earth, Godzilla eats the energy reserves of the slain Titan Tiamat and rises to his full height with new powers and abilities. Trapper Airplane, a cybernetic prosthesis from the armory to the natives' settlement to augment Kong. It also contains massive doses of medication to numb the pain. Zuko reports that Scar is on his way. Realizing he can't handle the king and his army alone, Kong travels through a portal to the surface to invite Godzilla for backup. But the humans fear that the reptile will think the primate is encroaching on his territory and start a fight. To avoid this, they perform a ritual to awaken Mothra. Gia climbs the steps to the top of the energy crystal, summoning a giant butterfly at the junction of the two worlds. Taking a closer look at the girl, she flies away with her to fulfill her destiny. The portal leads Kong out into the desert near Cairo. As he approaches the pyramids, he growls, summoning Godzilla to speak. The reptile, being on Gibraltar, hears the call and responds, traveling the distance by sea and ignoring highway bridges. An electrified Godzilla bursts into action, ignoring Kong's attempts to talk to him. The primate tosses sand into the reptile's eyes, but that doesn't save him from a powerful throw across himself. Kong strikes hard with his new prosthetic, battering his lying opponent. Kong drags the unconscious reptile by its tail towards the portal, not noticing as it regains consciousness and activates its energy breath. The gorilla is forced to flee the beam. In a raised veil of sand, Godzilla creeps closer and topples his opponent, trampling him into the ground. The shining butterfly urges them to unite to fight back together against their common enemies. The natives prepare to destroy the energy crystals to close the portals to the surface. At that moment, Scar appears in the cave. At his command, Shima freezes the crystals, thus slowing down the process of self-destruction. Next, Kong and Godzilla emerge from the portal. They rush towards Scar and Shima to give them an even fight. However, the combined crystals change the gravitational field, causing the battle to take place in weightlessness. Scar skillfully uses his whip and axe to attack Kong while the reptilians are busy with each other. Mothra, who comes to the rescue, restrains Scar's henchmen who attack the human plane. Even the little Suko throws rocks. Shimo activates his frost breath and almost freezes Godzilla, but Mothra's intervention saves him. She also saves the airplane when gravity suddenly returns, but the other Titans are pulled into a portal straight to the surface. They end up on a beach near Rio de Janeiro. Shimo's breath freezes the surging wave. Scar orders the reptile to continue freezing, but Kong's precision kick sends the king into a knockdown along with a knocked-out tooth. Godzilla attacks Shimo, at which point Scar attacks Kong again. They continue the battle, in the process destroying the dense city building along with the population. Godzilla, after failing to hit Scar with an energy beam, intercepts the whip with his teeth and bites it off, freeing the crystal. Godzilla helps Kong, who is attempted to be frozen by Shimo, who is unaware that Scar has lost the pain-causing crystal. While Kong and the king are struggling trying to take possession of the crystal, Suko appears with an axe and destroys it. Kong and Godzilla pelt Scar with hard blows. At this point, Shimo realizes he is free and shoots a frost ray at the king to avenge his years of captivity. Kong throws the frozen Scar to the ground and punches him to pieces. Mothra returns Jaya to Eileen and flies off to rebuild the protective veil at the entrance. Kong and Suko return to their kin, and Godzilla curls up in the Colosseum and hibernates until the next episode. And that's where movie ends. What do you think about this movie? Write your thoughts about the movie in the comments. If you liked my short retelling, then put likes and subscribe to not miss new videos. See you soon.